Chapter 65, Strike 3. There she was again, the new sweetheart in Michael's life, a pretty Latina posy was she. With skin so creamy and smooth that on a different occasion, Michael would have fancied mixing her up with some freshly cut pineapples and having himself an ambrosia salad. But at a loss, this was definitely no occasion to be going in that line of thought, for she was once again driving another van full of what Michael practically expected to be more Iron Monkey goons armed with more AK-47s. Wait, what the fuck am I thinking about? Ambrosia salad? Pretty Latina posy? That bitch wants to kill me. I really am a sucker for women. Oh, they found us, said Nikki. Yeah, they have, responded Michael. Since Michael and Nikki were standing from a higher angle, they had managed to see the new van approaching before Mr. Parsley could, and Michael figured this was probably the best chance to make their escape. Miss Jackson, are you going to give us the codes, or are we going to have to do this the hard way? I mean, don't tell me you're no longer interested in our part of the deal, explained Mr. Parsley through the loudspeaker. Nikki, don't tell them anything. They'll be shooting each other up pretty soon, and that will be our best chance, said Michael. Okay, but it didn't seem like Nikki was on the same page as Michael. But what? Thought Michael. But I don't think we should leave the city just yet. I still need to see if I could talk to the rest of the oubliettes, and Nikki then caught herself overwhelmed in her senses as she cut herself short, falling deep into thought. I mean, we need to... Her eyes were jittering about in her eye sockets, and they looked like they were about to jettison out from all the stress and strain placed onto them. It was a pitiful sight, but one Mike was now starting to lose his sympathy and patience towards. How the fuck are you going to make the deal now, Nikki? Talking to the other oubliettes? Are you fucking kidding me? Isn't it obvious now that we're past all that? For a second there, back at LeBron's chamber, she had managed to convince Michael that maybe what she was doing wasn't as bad as he thought it would be. She got me, she did. She manipulated me with my emotions again. And the fucked up part is I really sort of wanted her too. It felt good when she told him what she had done for him, saving him in Central Park. And when she told him then how she wanted to take him with her to Tahiti after all this, Michael truly had become taken in by the idea. Taken in by its promise. But Michael also knew better, and he knew how they were most definitely past all that, and he shouldn't let himself be taken in by it any longer. I've already done enough wrong for tonight. I want to be by her side, I still do, but not if it means I have to continue to do more of it, and especially the fucked up shit that's on her level. Who the fuck is this woman? And Michael felt like there had to still be something between the two. And for that reason, it was very disheartening for him to continue seeing that lady step out of her and continue trying to make decisions that could cost them their lives and also many others. Nikki, please don't make me hate you, please. Please don't give me a good reason that I should turn on you. Don't force me to stay by your side and have me go too far. Nikki, stop trusting these people. What if they actually go ahead with the blowing up the bomb? Then what? Cried out Michael. And then, I don't care, whispered out Nikki, as she grew a dark and distant look on her face. And that now had really now pissed Madboy off. Almost more than he was able to handle, as he almost felt his hand reach out and grab her and do God knows what next. Michael was breathing hard and heavily again, and Nikki noticed. Michael was really beginning to grow fed up with all this, and seeing her say something like that had almost destroyed the last good image of her he was desperately trying to cling on to. I really miss we had left the city then, right after our moment in the elevator, before I had to learn all this about her now. We could have been out of the city by now, but she just had to stay because she just had to keep in touch with the oubliettes because she just had to get paid. Money, and this lady's already rich to begin with. And also, she still probably does want those prominent figures murdered, even though she had said before that she doesn't, saying how she didn't want that much blood on her hands. I really don't know what to think anymore. As much as Michael wanted to tell Nikki these things, he kept his mouth shut while glaring her over. But Then again, this wasn't the best time to be standing around doing so either. Bang! Both Michael and Nikki were then jolted by the sound of a shot fired from below that ricocheted off a wall just a few feet from Michael's head. "Michael, Miss Jackson, that was your final warning," called out Mr. Parsley through his loudspeaker. And Michael now felt it was about time to let Mr. Parsley in on their little secret. "Hey, old man, I think you have more important shit to be worried about than your codes right now," cried out Michael, then pointed towards the direction of the coming van. "Now you kids play nice and..." But then Michael noticed something else. As Mr. Parsley looked over at the coming van, Michael noticed how there was no sign of surprise or concern in his eyes. This now was definitely not good. Definitely not good at all. "Ah, Nikki, you've been had again. They're in on it together," cringed out Michael as he glared at her with a look of sore and sour disappointment. Now do you see how wrong you've been, and also stupid too, about all this? And then yet you've also had the nerve to make me out to be the dumb one. Some dumb lug following along, but unable to follow." No, what do you mean?" gasped Nikki, unwilling to accept it. "Look!" cried out Michael as he pointed at Mr. Parsley. But then Nikki also noticed, saw what had really been going on, saw how she had been had, and then opened her mouth up to express her frustration and began screaming without making a sound. "No, they told me. "Nikki, it doesn't matter now, run," broke out Michael as he grabbed her hand and yanked as hard as he could the direction they should be headed. As the two dashed forward, fleeing further up the fire escape, they felt another jolt by another shot being fired and warning, "Miss Jackson, I am not playing around anymore. If you do not..." But Michael and Nikki were paying no attention to Mr. Parsley as they flew into motion, making their escape. "Ah!" And then Mr. Parsley just about blew a fuse as he blew out with a long-ended screech, totally out of the blue and totally out of character, since he couldn't just shoot at them and kill them and then get the codes out anyways. He was forced to watch as Michael and Nikki blew him off and continued with their escape. His bluff had been called out, and for once Michael felt like he was really getting a sense into his true character, beyond his ever-present grin, and hearing the type of sound this lizard would really be making, considering how sharply and shrilly his screeches were being carried out. Sounds like a pterodactyl getting struck by lightning in mid-flight and falling down and into the mouth of a T-Rex. Chomp, thought Michael, sort of glad he was still able to think of something funny at any moment's notice. As the two rushed up the fire escape and reached the top, Michael then took a quick panoramic glimpse up there, up top, on top of the rooftops, to see which path would best suit their escape now. But shit. Wasn't able to find any. Michael was barely able to make much sense of the concrete terrain. The whole scene up top was a clusterfuck of chimneys, TV antennas, and areas skewed in darkness. And to confound the confusion, clouds had built up around the full moon, leaving Michael with hardly any visibility. "Michael, I can't tell if they're following us," said Nikki, looking back down from the direction they came. "Shut up, Nikki. Don't talk to me right now. Just don't talk and don't even think. You were obviously stupid enough to believe Mr. Parsley, and now I don't want your stupidity to put us into any more danger." Michael didn't feel like responding to her. He already had way too much tension built up over the situation they were in, and he needed to focus on that instead. So he decided then to take a look back down below and see what he would now be dealing with. Wait, they might see me and start shooting up. And so then instead, Michael ran over to a dark corner and then took a look down onto the street. Michael then saw Mr. Parsley down there yelling at his IRA goons, and they didn't seem as if they were making any plans to continue their pursuit. Seemed to have disengaged and were planning to pull back. They were doing that, and next to Mr. Parsley, that pretty little Latina posy, fuck that bitch, was standing by talking on a walkie-talkie while blowing bazooka bubbles the size of her head, and now seemed to be the one taking charge. "Michael, what are they doing down there?" asked Nikki. "I don't know, but I don't see any of Mr. Parsley's goons trying to make it up here, and they seem like they're getting ready to leave," responded Michael, confused as to what was going on. "They're leaving?" asked Nikki. "Yeah, they're leaving, and looks like Mr. Dorian's men are now going to be taking over, coming after us. What's going on here?" "Wait, they're leaving? Shit. Michael, maybe I should go down and now..." Michael looked over completely and totally dumbfounded at Nikki, and this was now becoming too much for him. No. No. I gotta get it through her thick head now. This time I got to. Nikki, you're not getting the money. You're not getting your deal. You're not getting Tahiti, okay? Lashed out Michael as he got up and started getting confrontational with her. And the second you're to get down there, they're gonna put you in a world of pain to get the codes out of you. And then they're gonna shoot you in the fucking head. Do you understand me? Screamed out Madboy, trying to make sense with her. But then was cut off by what Michael saw in her reaction. This time, Nikki began to grow confrontational as she started baring her animal self, baring teeth, and just about to start hissing at him, looking as if she wanted to bite Michael's head off. Coming off to Michael's dismay like a real lizard would, an image Michael couldn't stand imagining being what she really was. Nikki was now mirroring the same confrontational look of rage in Michael's face, except without any of the compassion and reasoning. Michael at least felt he was also trying to extend towards her through it all. I can see it now. Whatever that other self is in Nikki, that lady is definitely reptilian. Michael then stuck his finger out at Nikki and then clenched his hand into a fist to let her know he wasn't having any of it. Nikki, I swear I will. Vroom, vroom. Went an explosion of noise now from down below. Something that could be heard all around from ground level, all the way up to the rooftops where Michael and Nikki were at. A thundering explosion of gas, fire, and metal. All loud, really very loud, an explosion of such from what sounded like 2,000 motorcycle pistons being fired up all at once from the engines of 2,000 choppers ridden by 1,000 screaming Mad Max maniacs. They had all just now arrived on the scene. Running over to the side again, Michael could see that the Iron Monkey army was now out here, had ridden in to continue on with their business of burning down the city, as well as coming up later to finish the business they and Nikki had started. Angel Eyes was there. Angel was of course down there with them, and he seemed prime ready to do what was necessary to complete Mr. Dorian's plans of totaling this city to its foundation. He was down there with that Latina Posey as the two wide up at the Nympho building, while the rest of the Iron Monkey started doing their torching and looting work. Michael, what's going on down there? Cried out Nikki, back from showing Michael something he really didn't like seeing. Shut the fuck up, you stupid greedy bitch. Michael didn't respond, but continued to view the scene down below, and after what seemed like a short conversation between the road warrior and Espanol couple, Angel Eyes began smiling as he eyed the Latina while doing his own rendition of the journey face. Oh, stop doing that. I don't want you to do that too. Don't take away the only few joys I've had tonight. Then grabbed Posey by the back of her hair as he yanked down hard, as he then licked her across the face with his one giant tongue of his. Miss Posey then really moaned out loud like an excited schoolgirl would do as Angel smacked her across the ass and sent her skipping along her merry way. Angel then went back to his chopper as Miss Posey then just stood there and then started bouncing up and down looking like she wanted seconds. Why are the really hot ones always into the worst type of men? Thought Michael, but then pictured himself and Nikki and sneered at the thought. Michael, cried out Nikki again, more curiously. Please shut up, baby. Just don't talk. Right now, I don't feel like I can look you in the face without wanting to smack it right off. Continuing to look down, he saw that a bunch of Iron Monkeys were seemingly riding into the Nympho building and led by Angel Eyes himself. What are these clowns up to? Did they really just ride right in? Do they actually plan to ride all the way? Michael, I've decided to head back down. There's nowhere to run. We've lost. And with that, Michael felt like he really had lost it then. Jason Voorhees had his prey in sight, and he was ready to go in for the kill. Ah, shit, it's out now. There's no stopping it. Michael then turned around and began eyeing Nikki like the Grim Reaper, like he had done before. Now with eyes expressing how they had unfinished business they were eager to attend to. Strike three, lady, thought Madboy to himself, as a part of him at least felt like that other lady was deserving of whatever hell was to come up next, and then began stomping his feet, marching right at her, totally fixated and totally afraid out of his mind of whether or not he was really going to do something this time. No, don't, God, make it stop. Oh shit, I can't stop. Seeing the Reaper again, Nikki just about freaked. as she tried to run backwards but tripped over herself and fell. But Madboy was still moving fast, pounding the ground below his feet as he made track. And once he reached her, he finally did stop. Oh, thank God. For it was a look of total loss in Nikki's eyes, built up brick by brick like a brick wall which Michael found himself slamming up against. What are you going to do, Madboy? Are you going to put your hands on me and then squeeze my head so hard that I slowly begin to feel my brain being crushed within my own skull? Mentioned Nikki, all sad and sorrow to Michael's horror. And with that, Michael felt hollow and totally scared shitless. Are you, Michael? Is that what it's come to? Shut up, stop bringing that up. Not only did Michael feel totally devastated by all this, but also now completely rotten to his core. They were all the same words Michael had heard before from Mr. Dorian and felt disheartening to hear them now coming from her. And to the point he wished his heart would just stop now. Seeing her lying there looking pitiful yet again, once again, was the only thing keeping him from continuing on with what his mitts were demanding for, the justice they deemed fit to seek. They won't shut up. They won't keep saying how it's all her fault. Everything that's wrong in my life, all the pain and suffering I've been through. Her fault for abandoning me. Shit, maybe Gabe was right. Maybe I do have abandonment issues. He needed to see her like this, looking pitiful and lost and completely lost out of her mind. Michael felt like it was the only thing making him still feel sane and human, and seeing her as still just Nikki and not that lady. Because really, the thought of her as that other woman had now become the bane of his existence. It was the devil in the dark that eyed him in the night and called out for his true monster to be released. His mitts were calling out to him again, practically begging. And Michael felt like he wanted to chew his arms off and free himself from this conflict. What the fuck has happened to me tonight? Thought Michael as he shuddered. All I wanted was to be my old self again, not this. But the hour of living out his glory days, being a fighter, a brawler, a wisecracking force to be reckoned with, which no lady could resist, had now come and gone. And this was what all that seemed to have remained. Michael needed to do something to fight back these demonic urges, as the thought of that lady continued to tear him apart. I need to. Michael quickly shoved his hand into his pocket as he went for his rosary. It had given him a sense of sanity several times up to this point, and he needed to. It wasn't there. What the? No. Michael then went totally frantic and began to panic, searching all his pockets, searching all of them. But still it wasn't there. No, I must have lost it back when me and the towering inferno were going at it. Michael felt like there was nothing left to save him now, and he didn't know what to do. Michael, please, let me go down there and talk to them. I can fix this. You know me. I'm good at talking to people, said Nikki. Where is it? Where? And then all of a sudden, as Michael looked deep into Nikki's eyes, he saw them there. It's in her eyes. It's in her eyes. What? In her eyes? How's that? It was one thing to be imagining things such as demons, possessed hands, or people around him really being cats or lizards. That there was one thing, since they were just products of his own vivid imagination. But it was another thing to physically be seeing shit beyond his input, which is what this was. Michael had now reached a point where he really was hallucinating things. Or am I seeing the truth? And this is real. And this was a whole new experience for him. And as much as it frightened him to be doing so, it also sort of didn't. What? What does it mean? I'm really seeing them there. So what does it mean? Michael then sighed and allowed himself to accept it. Whether hallucination or not, it was making sense to him. He felt it. And that was all the sense he felt like he needed right now. Yeah, I do. I do want them to be there. I don't understand what it means that they are, but I do understand what it feels like. This here is now giving me the same sense I felt all night long, that I've been having kissing my crucifix. It's doing its trick again. It's magic, and that's all that matters to me right now. It's aligning me to my true self, and now Michael came to a new conclusion of what was really going on. He now figured it had to have something to do with the whole ideas of one's true self, an idea he had been playing around with in his head all night long. Really, this whole night has been about nothing but that, and now with Nikki, I feel the same. I want my old Nikki back. What are you talking about, Michael? When you first met her, she was already a manipulator. I mean the Nikki that was with me for so long. I mean, we were together for over 3 years after the meeting back at the Tropic. The person I knew during that time, that's the person I want back. So Michael now figured in order to do all that, he was going to need to protect Nikki at all costs, even if it meant protecting Nikki from herself. For as long as that lady was also still in there with her, Michael then felt Madboy would be there within him too. Wait, what the fuck am I thinking? Evil me, evil Nikki, good Nikki? What the fuck has Mr. Dorian done to my head? Michael, I'm hitting... No, you're not, interrupted Michael as he started to grow confrontational with her again, and this time on a much more antagonizing level. Michael, I said no you're not, and don't you ever call me Madboy again. Nikki had practically never called him that, ever. And he'd be damned if she was to start now. Michael, Nikki baby, I understand you're totally coked out of your fucking mind and delusional right now, but I'm not going to allow you to make the biggest mistake of your life, spat out Michael, cringing up with teeth. At first, Nikki cowered a bit from his presence, but then came out with teeth of her own. Don't you fucking start like that with me. Dude, not again. I'm going to get you out of town. Forget the money. You're already rich enough to where you don't deserve any more. Stop being a spoiled and greedy little bitch. You already have enough money to where you can retire to Tahiti on your own. And don't even bring up those enemies you have in 1999. I don't want to hear that either. Spat out Michael, speaking to her in a way he had never done so before. Right now, she doesn't understand these things I've learned since murdering Anthony. But Nikki's a killer. You saw that. I mean, killing and murdering are two different things. She killed those 3 iron monkeys because she had no choice. It was them or us. With murder, it's all about choice. But Mr. Parsley had said, also, I don't fucking want to think about what Mr. Parsley told me before. Not right now. Right now, she doesn't understand something about herself like I understand about myself. She doesn't understand. She doesn't know. There's someone else in her, confusing her and making her think she knows what she's doing. That's why I need to protect her from herself. Get it? Get it? You know how batshit crazy this all sounds right now, right? You do, right? Yeah. As for Nikki right now, the woman had practically grown green scales and slit yellow eyes and was hissing at Michael with forked tongue. Get out of her. Don't take my Nikki over completely. Nikki, you don't know what you're doing. You just don't. Michael was now breaking up as this whole whack job experience really began to tear away at him. Nikki, please, you don't know what you're... Yes, I do, lashed out Nikki. No, yes, I do. Michael then started shaking his head in denial, as Nikki then started nodding hers. To Michael, she now looked as dark and as cruel as she did that second she had stepped out of those drapes, back on that magic floor, back at that magic hour, back in that magic building when Michael's world had been turned upside down, seeing her again for the first time in years. Nikki then began doing what she had then, prancing over to Michael like a woman possessed by some evil pagan goddess of lust and treachery. One step perfectly placed in front of another, also perfectly paced with her hips. Her heels clicking and clacking hard, breaking up Michael even further with every step she took. Also, at this moment, both Nikki and Michael could hear a faint sound of the Iron Monkey's choppers making their way up to them. Nikki, you're not this. Yes, I am, she cried out. No, you're... Yes, I am, cried out again. It almost felt like Nikki was going to begin circling him again like back then, but didn't, as the sound of the choppers continued closing in. Michael, Madboy, now you listen to me. Now I know you're some dumb as shit, chauvinistic macho asshole here thinking it's your job to save me, but... And now Nikki seemed to be breaking up herself as she felt the pressure in her forehead seize her and her senses and her speech. Nikki, you're in over your head. No, But Nikki could no longer deny herself how much she really was. Michael, I need that money. I